Welcome back to Vertical Thoughts. Today we're going to be talking about wire management. As you can see, I'm blocking, actually this backpack is here to block all of our dirty wires. So people don't see our dirty, disgusting wires. Because the internet hates wires. Today we have a special guest. She was in this backpack and then she left. It was a cat. And I was going to show you guys the cat in the backpack, but she left. She'll be back.
Yeah, she loves the backpack, so she will return.
She'll be back exclusively to disrupt the show.
Just pretend that you're leaving.
That's true. If we pretend she gets it right in the backpack immediately. She's like, where are we going? Ready to go. I'm loaded. I got everything I need on me. I'm a cat. I don't need anything. We have a for real special guest though. Alex, welcome to the show. Thank you. Are you a listener of Vertical Thoughts?
I've listened to some.
That's okay. No one listens to all of them. Not even me. So don't feel bad.
I'm probably not going to listen to this one.
You know, that is the most common thing that I hear from people where I'm like, how did you feel about your episode? And they're like, I'll never know because I'll never listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to go back like months later and ask people if they listen to theirs. It's always better than you think it's going to be.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think I perform horribly in all of them. And maybe I do. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
But thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're here to talk about your climbing career, which lately has had more, ups and downs than most people's have.
Always, actually.
Yeah. But I'm sure there are other people out there who share a similar story to yours, and I'm sure that hearing your story will help them feel a little bit better and less lonely. So let's go back to the beginning. Genesis 1:1. Not that far back. The beginning of your climbing history. When did you start climbing?
Well, 2018, I was graduating at Bible college. And when I started going to the gym, I wasn't actually climbing. I was there to study.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have friends at the gym?
Just Liz.
Okay.
And then I started hanging out with everyone because she was really close to you guys. And I was like, oh, everyone's so cool. I should start climbing too. And then, yeah.
And now we're here.
Yes. And I enjoy it so much.
So you started just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you get into it right away? How did you feel when you first started climbing?
No, I was really scared the first time because everyone was really strong. But everyone's really encouraging too. So, yeah.
Always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Having a good local group to encourage you. Here comes cat number 1. She's going for the jump. There she.
Oh
wow.
my God, that was a big jump.
Very graceful as well.
Yeah, it was really
She's
good.
moving mics around. She's about to spill the tea. I'm spray bottle at the ready, just so everybody knows.
That's not your tea. Don't.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I just got to show her the
Like the
piece, dude. She
spray.
knows what's up.
Yeah, you just have to touch the spray bottle and she is gone.
Yeah, it's like when you. It's like when you're around a cop or a police officer and things get tense and you like go for your belt. You know what I mean? Drives the same reaction. Everybody's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's the same as cats. As soon as you grab that spray bottle, they're like, hey man, take it easy. We don't have to do anything rash. Okay, so you started climbing, and what was the first main obstacle that you faced in climbing, whether in climbing or external?
I was really introverted, so like climbing and then everyone kind of watching you or not, like just thinking that everyone's watching you was really hard. So yeah, mentally it's hard first and foremost, and then physically too.
Yes.
Agreed.
And the fear. I think the mental is the biggest for climbing. I think.
We have a tall gym, not like the building is really tall, but our walls, it's a bouldering only gym, but our walls are like notoriously tall, and we don't really have short ones. So it's kind of like if you learn to climb at Vital Murrieta, it is a good learning experience for sure, because our cave is very tall, like into the 20s, 23 feet or something. I don't remember exactly how high, but it's very tall. And granted, they don't set to the very tip top anymore because someone was going to die eventually. I mean, it's like free soloing at that point, but
Basically.
yeah. But not long after you started climbing, you ran into some health issues.
Well, even during climbing too.
Okay.
Like before I found out, because apparently I found out recently that I'm allergic to chalk dust.
Doesn't help.
No. I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was like, that's probably why I was sick the whole time, because I would like climb really hard for like a couple months, and then I would get sick with my asthma for like a couple months, and so I have to start back up again.
Right.
And yeah, last year I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So yeah, early on. But
yeah. How did it feel for you in that moment? What were the emotions that you felt first? It's different for everybody, but.
Well, actually, I was at peace, really. Everything was laid down for me, I think. The Lord kind of like walked me through that since the beginning. I changed insurance, and then so I changed with my physician, and she saw my history, and she's like, you really need to push in checking your thyroid. I was like, no, it's fine, because I already had a biopsy a couple years before that, and it was negative. And I was like, oh, if it was negative back then, it's not going to be positive this time. So I'm just not going to worry about it. But she really pushed me to see an endocrinologist. And at first I thought it was just a, what's that word?
I have no idea.
Like a physical or a checkup?
Yeah,
or
so it's
something routine.
Thank you. Thank you. It was just a checkup with the endocrinologist. So I went there, and they were like, hey, take off your shirt and put this gown on. And I was like, what?
No, I'm just here for the physical.
You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one told me. I thought I was just going to see the doctor, and they're like, no, we're going to do a biopsy. And they forgot to tell me.
That's nice of them.
And I drove by myself and drove our 12-seater van, which I hate.
Nice.
And because my car was broken during that time, and I was like, can I call my mom? Because can I drive by myself after this? And he's like, yeah, call your mom, and it's fine to drive by yourself. But yeah, if I knew it was a biopsy, I wouldn't probably gone. But it was good that I didn't know, because it was positive.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, definitely one of those situations where what seemed like the wrong path became the right path.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly and obviously. So we have known you through most of this. We've known you since you probably started climbing, probably right around the same time.
Yeah.
So
you're one of the first people that I've met.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
We're the homies. Everybody knows us.
We're the OGs.
Yeah, that's right. We're everybody's
For
first.
Alex.
Yeah.
It was on a weekend. I was studying, and then you wanted to play hacky sack, and we were horrible at it.
I'm very bad at hacky sack.
I actively do not play hacky sack because I'm not in the business of embarrassing myself.
Because she's very bad. I'm getting better, you know?
Yes.
The Vital group is very big on
They really are.
on the sack. And whatever it is, I don't have it, you know? When they say like some guys got it and some guys don't.
No, we were better. Well, we're better now for sure, because you were like chucking it everywhere.
Yes. That one game where you play hacky sack and then when it hits the ground, somebody grabs it and pegs somebody else. It may just be called peg. I don't know what it's called, but what a horrifying game. Playing with a lot of strong climbers that are taller and longer than me and faster, and very humbling, you know?
Yes.
But we've known you through this, and I have always been very impressed with the strength and fortitude with which you've handled this situation. For a lot of people can be not just the end of their life physically, because there's obviously physical danger, but it can be the end of their life emotionally and mentally, because a lot of people meet tragedy with panic and kind of mental chaos, and they lose themselves somewhere along the way. And in my experience anyways. And it's difficult, but always worth it to just kind of stay your course. And you can't stop it, really. There's nothing you can do sitting there thinking about it. So really the only thing that one can do is let it play out. And if you're religious, if you believe in God, you can pray or you can seek guidance from wherever. But at the end of the day, the stress, the panic, the mental chaos doesn't help. In fact, many studies have shown that it makes it worse in some cases, and that positivity goes a long way. Positivity and optimism and trusting your body to, be able to overcome, trusting your medical professionals that are around you to help you. All that stuff really comes together, in a really clean way. And did you feel, climbing specifically, you probably, like most of us, have like a climbing group of friends and then like other groups of friends, right?
Yeah.
That tends to be how it works.
Yeah.
We're like the nerds. You remember high school, college, middle school? We're the nerds off in the corner. We're just a nerd for something different. That's all. Did you feel the support from the climbing community?
Oh my goodness. I was just talking to Liz about it, and like, I don't know where like I'd be if you guys weren't there at all. You guys were so supportive. And I remember telling everyone, or like one by one, like I told you first.
This is like not the episode for me to be in on. Like I'm already,
You're
I haven't
next.
even
I
spoken
might cry
yet.
Yeah.
But
Don't
yeah.
look at me.
No.
Brooke's got allergies.
It's my eye allergies too. Anyways, just the support and encouragement to everyone was really what's that, like, encouraging.
Yeah.
You guys had parties for me, and we went outdoors as much as we can before. That's what I told everyone. I want to go out more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it's gonna end, so I want to do stuff that I love before I possibly can't. And you guys organized that and helped me out with that. And yeah, and the party, the surprise party before my treatment was really sweet. I still have all this stuff that you guys gave me. This link in the place.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about why we had a party for you before?
I had to do my radiation treatment. So it's a radioiodine. It's a pill that you have to drink. And then you have to be quarantined for 7 days after that. And so you guys gave me Play-Dohs and like coloring books.
Activities.
And
such.
flowers, which is really sweet. And Brooke actually cut her hair with me.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I cried. Way before, well, the week before I was planning to cut my hair, you did.
Yeah, so, a few of the female friends from the climbing gym, they were all planning on cutting their hair together, and they had it planned out on a certain day, and I wasn't going to be able to go. I was working, and so I just cut it off. And I just sent her a picture of my 12 inches, not on my head anymore. And I was like, hey, have fun this weekend. Hope you still cut your hair, because I cut my hair.
Didn't you guys meet for coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we met for coffee. After she did cut her hair, we met for coffee, and we took pictures with our
Together, yeah.
little ponies.
Little tails.
Yeah, our little tails.
You have to bring her hair.
Yeah, don't forget your hair at home when you come for coffee.
Yeah. So, Brooke. Batter up.
Don't.
How did you feel at the beginning of all this?
Oh no. I looked at myself in the mirror today before Alex came over, and I was like, don't cry today.
I'm already crying.
And then the second she started talking just now, I wasn't worried about crying when she talked. I was worried about crying when I talked. But dude, I felt it just now, and I was like, oh man, here we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to say everything I want to say and not have to stop halfway through it. But
That's okay.
Alex and I met for coffee, and she had asked me if she had invited me, basically. And we were just hanging out and talking, and then she said she wanted to show me something, and she showed me the results on her phone, and I read them, and I just like, I thought maybe it's about somebody else, and I was looking for somebody else's name on it, but it only had her name, you know. And you know, she was like super chill about it, and she was very like peaceful and confident. And you know, I didn't want to cry in front of her. Okay, hold on. And I remember her like kind of giggling a little bit when she saw me tearing up, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, don't cry." And I was like, "When's the time to cry?" And like,
What do you mean don't cry?
what do you mean don't cry? Like, yeah, so I feel like I held it together, and you know, we talked about, you know, what was gonna come next, and what we were gonna do, and of course I told her I'd be there for her, and you know, what more can you say? Like all right, let's do it, you know. Yeah. The coffee shop we were at was like 100 feet from our home gym, and Liam was there waiting for me to climb. And I actually don't know if I ever told you this, Alex, but that's like the hardest I've cried in a really long time.
Oh.
Is when I left and I went to the gym, and I just like looked at Liam, and I was like, I gotta tell you something. And I like held so many tears in when I was with you, and I couldn't do it for like another second, you know.
Thanks for holding it in for me.
I tried so hard.
Were you worried because of her peace and confidence? Were you worried that your emotional reaction would affect her somehow?
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to bring her down. I'm sure it's like, you know, I don't.
Excuse me. This is for serious right now.
Maybe it was or wasn't easy to like keep the peace that she had. I don't know, but if I imagine myself having peace with that, I think it maybe would have taken me a little bit of time, or if it didn't take me time, it would at least keep effort to like keep up the peace. You know, I'd have to like always be checking in with myself and like keeping a positive mind about it, and I just didn't want to like get in her way of that, you know. And if I was going to be upset, then I can be upset, but you know, I wanted to match where she was at. So
Aww.
And I know she had mentioned, you know, somebody else kind of like making comments, someone in her family making comments to her about like, why aren't you more upset? Almost like trying to make her more upset than she was, like wanted the reaction out of her that they expected and
that they maybe felt.
Yeah. And you know, I just didn't want to do the same thing, so
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was really hard to get through.
This is gonna be the saddest episode ever.
It's okay. There's a lot of sad people out there, and I think that
yeah,
a lot of people, things like this are always the saddest because it's times when we as people feel powerless and, like I said, lost, and sometimes even alone. I know a lot of people, when they go through things like this, they never feel more alone, even with all the people supporting them and rallying around them. Coming face to face with your own mortality can be very, very humbling and almost bittering for some people. But were you surprised by her resoluteness and her like peace in the moment?
I mean,
I was when you told me that. Not that I didn't think she would be that way, but this stuff doesn't happen every day to everyone you know. You know what I mean? So you can't, when you imagine someone close to you being diagnosed with something severe, you have no idea what it's going to be like. You know what I mean? You can run through that scenario in your mind a million times, and it could go a million different ways. And you never know what that conversation is going to be like, or how they're going to feel, or how you're going to feel.
yeah.
And it's often much worse than you could possibly imagine in terms of just the way it makes you feel. Because we as humans can't quantify things like that, feelings like that, until we're there and we're feeling them.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then it's real fear or real, it's
It
all,
overwhelms you.
every emotion at once. And were you surprised just by how she was?
I was, definitely. But if there's anybody I know in my life that was going to react that way to it, I think it'd only be her. So,
Sure.
Aw.
so I was surprised, but then I was like, well,
Yeah.
wouldn't expect it from anyone else. So,
Aw.
You're very tough.
Thank you.
Very strong girl.
and then like, Alex isn't invincible. She
Sure.
she feels things and things hurt her, but she deals with them better than anybody else I've met.
Aw.
It's not that she's super strong and like things don't hurt her. They do, but she's her faith is super strong and she's really trusting and she's like, well, I feel like worse could happen, like I feel like that's her attitude. And I was like, well, this is definitely the worst I would have thought could happen. I know there are worse things, but
Right.
Aw. But I can't take credit for my strength for sure though.
yeah, I
Just
know.
having faith and trust in God helped me a lot through that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Talk us through your recovery process. I know there's a lot to it, so you can kind of summarize a little bit, but
Right after?
yeah, from the moment you were diagnosed to now, basically,
now,
what has the kind of the process been like?
So I had, after I was diagnosed, again, the Lord was totally helping me all through that. I had a month later, I had an appointment with my endocrinologist surgeon. So he's not, a different doctor. So he was explaining that he needs to remove all my thyroid because of a possibility of spreading in my lymph nodes and in my body. And I was like, can you just take half because it's just right on the right side? It's like, no, it's safer that way, so you wouldn't have another surgery next time. But I was like really pushing to do half because I met another lady who had one, and she said that she had the surgery, took off half of her thyroid, and then couldn't even walk for a couple years. And I didn't want that to happen with me, since I really love the outdoors. I like hiking and I like climbing. And but he said I had to, so I did. But the doctor said my surgery won't be until in a month. And I was like, okay, I have time to think about it. But driving home after it, the nurse called me and she's like, so the doctor moved a patient. Can you come in for surgery in 3 days?
Like, excuse me?
There goes your time to think about it.
Yeah. Which is probably
Again,
safer.
for the better, I think.
Yes, which is safer because I would probably be scared and like back out. But
That would have been a very long month, I think.
yeah. So it was the fastest 3 days ever. And then crazy, I think the next day I had to go for my post-op, and my mom was driving me with a friend's car, and we had a tiny car accident.
When it rains, it pours, I guess.
Yeah. And I had a whiplash, so my neck was hurting, and my parents was like, don't tell your doctor that you had because they might postpone your surgery.
Yeah.
But my dad, like, he's a chiropractor not with the bones, but in nerves and muscles.
Okay.
So he worked on me that night for like a couple hours.
Wow.
To make me feel better, and I felt better.
Good.
But yeah, I had the surgery. I had to recover for 2 weeks. But since it's on the neck, I was so worried. Like, yeah, the first 2 weeks, I was really worried because it was on the neck, and I was afraid of not being able to look up. When climbing, you have to look up. It's like, what should I climb like with my head down all the time? And I would dream about climbing almost every day.
Really?
Yeah, I missed it so much. But so after that, we had to wait a couple weeks or a week to check if the cancer had spread. And we went back to the doctors, and he said it did spread in my lymph nodes. So I had to do the radioiodine treatment, and so that was really harder than the surgery for sure, because I had to do this bland diet, no iodine, no salt, no eating out, and I had to be off of my medicine too, with my thyroid medicine, because they took out my thyroid, so I have to drink thyroid meds for the rest of my life, but I had to be off of that for a week, I think, and that was the hardest because I was really emotional times 20.
Yeah, everything was kind of thrown out of whack.
Yeah, because thyroid regulates our hormones and our metabolism, but I told everyone to not be around me during those times. But you guys had the party, and that was really sweet the day before. And after the radiation, during the quarantine was really, I think that was like the climax of everything.
Yeah.
It was so hard because the doctor said you can't throw up, because if you threw up, you have to go to the hospital. But if you go to the hospital, your parents will be exposed with your radiation. So they might have cancer. So I was like, okay, don't throw up. I was so dizzy the whole time, but it's like, I wanted to watch TV. I wanted to read books, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I was just staring at the ceiling, but everyone texted me. I told everyone to text or FaceTime me. A lot of people did. I wrote down everyone who did just to encourage me. And I probably wouldn't survive that 7 days if it weren't for everyone checking up on me. And yeah. And then after that, I was fine. So I tried to hike after. I served in a church right after I got out for a week for camp, and I think I was fine, and I was really encouraged by that. But after a month or two, I started to have bone pain and muscle pain, and I couldn't hike. I can't even walk a mile without hurting really bad. And I would wake up to go to work, and I wouldn't move for an hour because it's just so painful. And also after that, actually, I forgot to say, I couldn't taste anything. And so sad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Because that's the only comfort that I had during that time. And then it was taken away from me. So that was, disheartening. Yeah. And then on top of that, hurting a lot. And and I couldn't climb. I thought I could climb after my treatment. I was being really optimistic. Right. It's like, okay, I'm going to climb Whitney after this in September. Yep. Go to places.
Sounds great.
I'm going to Yosemite on my birthday. But I couldn't. Anyways, July, on my birthday, actually, I found out that July 2nd.
Everyone write it down.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Thank you. You're writing it down? No.
Yeah, notating it. I'm going to screenshot this moment.
Anyways, I found out that I'm on remission on my birthday. And so, I'm cancer-free right now, which is a blessing. So.
Yeah. And, we are blessed to be a part of a community like climbing and like many other things, full of people who are willing to help and support. And this cat is just...
I know, she's smacking the mic with her tail.
Here, let me have some water. Right in the butt.
Holy.
Sorry about that. So rudely interrupted by our cats. She won't even get in the backpack. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I do remember a lot of that. Obviously, most of that was dealt with you by yourself or with your family or, with doctors. And that's where a lot of the turmoil happens is, by yourself. And like you said, you were in quarantine, so you were alone. And that, I know, before that, you were saying, your emotions were everywhere because of... you were missing the part of your body that regulates that. I do remember that, and I remember like Brooke telling me like, oh, she isn't feeling well and she feels like she can't control her emotions. Well, I just want you to know you carried yourself very well, because I was like,
I'm glad.
oh, she seemed totally fine.
I never noticed.
Yeah.
Even for a second, I just knew because you had expressed it to me.
Right.
That you had trouble controlling your emotions and you were feeling like you were all over the place, but yeah, you did really well.
It's good. Yeah, it's good that you know that you succeeded at, in acting normal, because I get on mood swings. I have a thyroid. And sometimes I am like, okay, well, I can't be normal today anymore because I'm just so angry. So everybody needs to leave.
Those days.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to leave. Everybody get out.
But I'm always, the thing in the back of my mind is always like, I think I am being worse than I actually am being.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So just to let you know, you were being fantastic.
Thank you.
A+. Yeah.
I mean, shout out to my family and Liz. They probably experienced like the worst of it.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do, right?
Right.
You rode the roller coaster. And you're here and you have begun your journey towards climbing again?
Yes. Yeah.
How's that been?
It was amazing, but like I said, it's tough at the beginning because I was really optimistic that I could be back to normal life after all of that.
Right.
Like what my body experienced, but I can't. Like I have to be gracious to myself with that. But being optimistic like discouraged me. It's like, why can't I do this like right after?
Yeah.
Like I had to cancel all of my plans to go to Yosemite and go to Whitney, and I think it was too long that I expected it, but
right.
Brooke kind of helped me with this miracle meds.
Oh yeah.
CBD. I was really discouraged about my pain, but like I was like, Brooke, I heard like cancer patients use the CBD for their pain.
I was like, I got it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Because there's like, especially in California and, other states where marijuana is legal, there it's like the highest saturation of all these different types of products. And how are you supposed to know what's good and what isn't? And then it all just starts to seem fake.
Right.
Then it all just seems like BS. And you're like, I hate CBD.
Yeah.
It's all stupid. And yeah, so I get that basically, and
right,
and like, so long story short, I like know a company well. They make like very pure products, and they make their CBD only from the flower. They don't use other parts of the plant. Just I know the company well and their products, and so I gave her one that was good and trusted, and just like a good all around company, not like the BS CBD places.
Right.
And I was really skeptical at first too, because I'm a Christian. It's like it's from weed.
Yep.
Yeah, and I told her, I was like, there is an 82-year-old Mormon woman that we give this to, and she uses it every morning. So
she's picking the devil's lettuce, let me tell you.
And she's feeling really good about her aches and pains. So
yeah.
And it helps a lot of cancer patients, and I've heard so much about it. But so when I took it, I felt better right away. Like I can walk like long distance without hurting and not so I took that every day, and now I'm not taking it as much.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm not having the pains anymore, which
That's
is really encouraging. So I've been climbing a lot, and I've been trying to push myself, but not too much. We kind of have to, because sometimes I do, and I would get a relapse.
how's your asthma been?
Yeah, because you've found out that you had the chalk allergy kind of after all of this, right?
Right. It's because I had an allergy test. But I've been wearing masks at the gym, inside the gym, which is really hard when you're doing cardio or you're climbing.
Yes.
But I haven't had an asthma ever since. Well, when I got back from being sick. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I guess it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks super cool in the gym, you guys.
Yeah.
She really does. She looks like
Big like ninja vibes.
Yeah,
For sure.
Ninja Warrior for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, look at her go. She's like warming up on something, and I'm like, wow, she's amazing.
I feel self-conscious though.
Yeah, especially like right now. Like
Yeah.
I was talking to a lady at work actually who she has lupus, and so like she wears a mask a lot, just like in public places. And at this particular time in the world, everyone's like, "You have the coronavirus. Get away from it." You know what I mean?
Right,
Everyone's
yeah.
like, "Stay away." You
And also, Alex is Asian.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
hate to break it to you, Alex, but you're Asian.
Yeah, you're kind of Asian. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure sometimes you wearing a mask, maybe people get
You know how we
weird
Americans
about
are.
it. Yeah, the
Creatures of
Americans
panic.
are really dumb.
Yeah, we need something to freak out about.
I am self-conscious every time I climb, but I know people and a lot of people enough at the gym
Yeah.
that knows why I wear a mask. But like the new climbers at the gym, I feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to tell you not to feel that way because you don't need to. But then if it were me, I'd probably feel that way.
Yeah, I think
so
that's normal.
yeah, so
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
normal.
Don't let it
The
stop
new
you.
climbers would stare at me actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
and you're like, what do you want?
Stare at them back.
And then hiss at them.
Yeah. Lift up your mask. Yeah.
They're like, oh my God.
I should.
Or just start
Let's go.
just coughing on them. Just start coughing. That'll shut them right up.
And I'll have the gym to myself.
There you go. Just go around coughing on everything. You obviously, I mean, your body went through something very traumatic. Like radiation specifically is so hard on your body. And did you feel that when you got back on the wall for the first time? Did it feel different?
Yes, a lot. I think both of you guys were there on my first one.
I think I
And-
remember, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that you guys were there because I would probably push myself again too much. But you guys were like, okay, just climb 2 V0s
Yeah.
just to feel it out. I was like, okay, fine.
Nobody climbs V0.
What do you mean V0?
But I did actually when I put on my climbing shoes again after the longest time, I had the fattest toe cramp.
I was going to say, if I don't wear my climbing shoes for a day, they get like real stiff and uncomfortable. All that time.
Toe cramp.
Oh, that's awful.
I was like running back and then, like taking it off.
Get it off.
That was the worst part of all of this was the toe cramp. The crux of this whole story.
If we could go back in time and just
Change
take
one
away
thing.
the toe cramp.
Yeah, just that
was
one
the
thing.
worst one. Yeah. But then after I climbed the 2 big V0s, the next day I was in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So that was discouraging. And it's like, am I not going to be able to climb again? But I had to be patient and just wait for my body to heal. And again, be gracious to myself. And yeah, and now I'm climbing. I'm training. I'm trying to train.
I've seen lots of posts and videos and stories, and you did like your first orange dot, right? Or orange tag, which is in our gym.
No
a
way.
V2,
I did not know
a
that.
V2/V3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What? Which one?
The one at the top out. The yellow.
On the corner?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And actually, I've been trying to project V4s. So
So you're getting better.
I am.
That's awesome.
I'm really surprised. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this V4 just for fun. I know I'm not gonna get it, but I like finished halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I almost cried.
Yeah. Did you start to feel the weight of all this lifting off of you?
Yeah, yes, definitely. And like training goes a long way for sure. And just one step at a time. It's like, okay, I did this second move. That's good. And just be happy and celebrate in just the little things.
Yeah.
But yeah, not be too impatient.
Right.
It's like, okay, I need to climb this hard already. But yeah.
Yeah. And something that I think of often is that climbing itself is like a recovery process where you have to be proud of every step that you take. And like this weekend, I was projecting a particular climb that's been on my mind a lot recently out in Culp Valley. That is going to be my hardest first ascent that I've ever put up. But I couldn't do it. It's 3 moves. It's 3 hard moves.
Wow.
And I kept doing 2 and then almost doing the third and not doing it. And I was madder than I've ever been rock climbing. And Owen and Nick were there, and Owen was just so like distant from me. He was just like, this guy, I want nothing to do with this. Like, this guy's just a pile of anger and rage. I was smacking pads and yelling and swearing, and I was really mad.
Owen's always very like
Owen's
straight and steady,
linear
and,
emotions. Maybe not in his, on his inside. Maybe he feels things more than he cares to show them.
Things.
But there was a comma.
I know, but I like
maybe Owen feels things.
I like to think
probably
it stopped
not.
right there is funnier.
He doesn't need feelings; it just gets in the way of his sending. But yeah, and he was filming me, and I was full rage mode. But the one thing, the next day I started thinking about it a lot because I had to leave. We were going home, and I was like, I have to leave now and wait another week to come back and do this. And I'm really frustrated and really angry. This was supposed to go down in one session, but I had to remind myself that I did one more move on the climb. Last time I was there, I only did one of the 3 moves, and this time I was able to do 2.
Right.
And while it's so frustrating to not be able to do what you want to do, or what you want your body to be able to do, or in your case, to be better, to be well again now, you know what I mean? Not later. I want to be okay again now. Like, can we wrap this up? Because I can understand feeling like that. And I had to remind myself, every small victory is a victory.
Right.
And every move that you do on a climb that you didn't expect you could do, it's a small victory. You should celebrate it yourself. And if you are recovering from something, if you are dealing with something that's been long-term, short-term, something that has affected your body or your mental state, or this whole series we've been doing about injury and recovery, there's going to be several more episodes, by the way. This is number 2, but ranges anywhere from mental illness to physical illness to these, potentially deadly diseases. And it can be all over the map, but they can all have the same effects. And so mostly what we are here to communicate to you all is that if you feel something like this, or if you share part of Alex's story, or part of that felt familiar to you, she's here, and she's getting better, and she's still climbing. And we, the climbing community, were right behind her every step of the way. And even if you don't have a local climbing community or a local group of friends that's part of climbing, the climbing community, I promise, is at your back at all times. And we are blessed to be a part of a community that's like that. And I want to remind any of our listeners, anyone who's listening to this, if you feel alone, if you feel scared, if you feel like you don't have someone that has your back, reach out to us. Because, reach out to Alex. I'm sure she can give you some tips and advice and things that helped her, and maybe share a little bit of her faith. And, we all had faith in her and trusted in her. And her trust in God inspired me, and I don't practice religion very often, but I am a religious and a spiritual person. And I had a grandmother that died of cancer, and she was old. She was older, but it's kind of the same. It's still happening to you or someone near you, and that's when it just gets really real, really quick.
Right.
But
yeah, I think that's part of why, like, I love Alex very much, and that's a part of why I was so upset when she told me. But I also have a grandmother that had cancer, and she is alive. But my grandpa's had strokes before, and I was 12 at the time that she was sick, and there was no one else to take care of her. My grandpa can do a lot, but he can't really be trusted to do everything. Couldn't really rely on him completely. So I spent a lot of time there, like after her surgeries, and some of it's really ugly, and just like watching her hurt so much. And we have a lot of not to like really go into it, but my grandma and I have a lot of problems. She has a lot of issues that make it so she doesn't treat people very well. So, I wasn't super close with her. I don't want to say I didn't love her very much or didn't care about her, but it was the way that even with the way that I feel about her, it was so hard to watch because just nobody deserves that.
Right.
And Alex didn't have to go through all the things that my grandma had to go through, but Alex is so much more of a better person than my grandma is.
Sorry, Grams.
Just because she's old doesn't mean she's a good person.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do feel for her because she has a lot of problems that make her the way she is. But I love Alex so much more, and so I was like, no, like that's not okay with me.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that. But that didn't matter,
Right.
That didn't make it go away for her because I wasn't okay with it. But that's part of where like a lot of my emotion came from. I was just like I was angry about it for her because she wasn't angry about it.
Yeah. It's bad things happening to good people. It's the most frustrating fact of life by far.
But you really do have to trust that even when bad things happen, like we don't have the sight that God does have, like there are reasons that he does certain things and we have to accept that we don't always understand that. So I really just had to like chill out about it, and just be there for her and trust the way she trusted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're doing better.
Thanks for having me. And yes, thank you.
We're glad that climbing has maintained to be a part of your life still.
And I can't say this enough, and I can't thank everyone enough how encouraging you guys are. Even just training, been training, like whenever you guys see me, a lot of people have been encouraging me, and helping me with beta. So thank you.
It's very exciting for everybody to watch.
Aww.
So we're all happy to be a part of it and
Yeah.
watch you come back and watch you do better and.
Yeah. And this is your story now. This is your legacy. So, be proud of it.
Thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else you want to say to anyone who's listening or to friends or?
No, again, thank you. I wouldn't be able to survive this without you guys and of course the Lord. And and to those that are recovering from injury or have cancer like me, don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up so much. And just be gracious one step at a time. And like you said, celebrate and be happy in every step. But yeah.
That's great. So these stories that we're getting from several people and like Alex's story and like last week, and we have these stories about injury and recovery, and it makes you think a lot. And especially me as someone who is not currently injured or not going through something like this, thank you for sharing your story. Really, it's inspiring as someone who didn't go through it to learn that if I did go through it, I'd maybe be okay still, you know? So
definitely.
Thank you for giving us faith
Aww.
and hope. And if you're listening to this,
Is Liam getting allergies?
I have allergies. Yeah.
Oh, Liam. Oh, it's so cute.
You know what I'm allergic to? The end of this podcast. Also, the heater just turned on, so
Yes, we
you know
did
what the
it.
folks at home are listening to right now? Just you guys hear it? Shh. That's the heater.
Oh, yeah.
We do have a very loud heater.
There it goes. Stealing the show again. Well, Alex, thanks again for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're here in our house, so we'll see you like right after this probably. Thank you everyone for listening or watching. If you listen or watch this, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us and we will pass them along to Alex, or if she so chooses, because I didn't ask her yet, then we'll have some of her information. You can reach out to her directly. But either way, any questions, feel free to reach out, or any feedback or anything at all. If you want to know more or have any feedback to Alex's story, let us know. She's here.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.